There she is, there she is, there's what keeps me up at night. Oh gee whiz, there's why I can't eat a bite. Those flaming eyes, that flaming youth. Oh mister, oh sister, tell me the truth. Ain't she...
Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. The scenario is Reeling Madness. It was written by Tom Lynch, and it's included in a collection called New Tales of the Miskatonic Valley. Our game master is Tyler Hudak, and this is episode 2. Our recap will be given by Jen Obertaz as her character, Professor Sybil Bentz. But before we begin, I would like to announce that we have a new patron. Brandon Reinhardt has contributed $15 a month to our club. He told me in a letter that he thinks that he watches our show more than Netflix. Thank you so much, Brandon. That being said, without any further delay, let's continue our journey into the darkness. Jen?
The Diary of Sybil Bentz, The Wilcox Affair, Night 1, Summer 1923. I've been hired by my acquaintances and donors to Miskatonic University, Edwin and Grace Wilcox, to locate their son, Eugene. They're rather concerned because he's been attending these bacchanals thrown by Lord Varga Zoltan and Lady Varga Ariadne, supposedly Hungarian nobility down on their luck. Almost every week, it seems. Scandalous stories, apparently. Drink, jazz, dancing, etc. Mrs. Wilcox believes that Lady Varga has her eye on Eugene for his money, a gold digger, as she put it. My associates and I, which include a PI, a lawyer, and a father and son pair from the same circles, did some research on the family and their background, as well as the Fets themselves. It seems they are in fact Hungarian, though the connection to nobility is extremely distant and through blood rather than blood, a cousin of a aunt sort of thing. One of Eugene's friends and fellow partiers, a Gordon Chexley, is a rather hard fellow to track, although a neighbor did reveal that alcohol is not the only illegal substance consumed those evenings, if you realize what I'm talking about. Regardless, we had an invitation to a party, and it would be in rather bad taste to be late. The bacchanal itself was held at an older estate on Halsey Street, rented by the Vargas, I understand, and quite recently. They've certainly gone to all lengths to add an air of elegance to the place, but the lack of funds does come through at times, if you know what to look for. That being said, they spared no expense on alcohol, though we did have to pour our own, but then again, if it's not the Crown and Shield, I suppose my own gin and tonics work just as well. And the people, quite the eclectic guest list it seems, from all walks of life. Shop clerks, students, spiritualists, and that bore from archaeology that a waitress threw a drink at. Not to mention the society columnist, barred from entry. She may be useful later. The centerpiece of the event, we would learn from a gentleman very into his cups, is the ritual of Bacchus. Lady Varga will pick a companion for the evening, and then the party will continue all night. That same fellow also mentioned that Eugene had been the last man to catch her eye. That's a bit worrisome. At least I was able to meet Lord Varga and confirm his ancestry. There's no mistaking that accent, and he understood me when I introduced myself in his own tongue. His story is about what we thought. Lost land and money from the war, hoping to raise funds and friends to take it back, that sort of thing. Understandable, at least. And then the lady of the hour arrived.
All right. So with that, I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that Thaddeus and Dr. Bentz were in the parlor where they had just talked to Zoltan, and the rest of you were in the library where the waitress had just thrown the drink into Professor Morgan's face, and Ariadne showed up. Is that correct? Am I getting everybody's locations right?
Correct.
Awesome. So we'll start in the library. As before, the waitress threw the drink into Professor Morgan's face, throws her apron on the floor, and storms out after calling him a pig. He's obviously looking very embarrassed. As your eyes follow the waitress out of the room, you see a very beautiful woman in a long silver dress step into the room, laugh, and say, "I guess you cannot get good help these days." And with that, she introduces herself as Ariadne Varga.
Right. Yes, good help is very hard to find in these parts. I'm Garland Vandermolen.
And she reaches out with her hand to shake yours, darling. And she's speaking in an accent as well. Darling, I'm so pleased that you could attend. And I'm sorry, have we met? I've met so many people lately.
No, we haven't met, but I heard about these excellent parties from a friend of mine.
Well, I'm so glad that you could join. We have so many friends and so many friends willing to help us after our horrible endeavor in Hungary. I know my uncle is trying desperately to get back, but I love Arkham, and as you can see, the parties here are amazing.
Yes, well, you certainly know how to throw a good one. It's a shame about your family's most recent misfortunes.
Well, most recent, it's been a couple years, of course. I was but a girl of 18 when we had to escape from all the terror that was going. Fortunately, my uncle was able to help us out. But let's not talk about bad stuff. We're here to enjoy the revelry. And with that, she turns to Harvey and Benjamin, extends out her right hand, and says, "And you are."
Ben Armand.
Mr. Armand, it's so good to meet you. Oh, thank you. And you, sir?
Harvey Belvedere.
Oh, Harvey, it's so good to meet you too. The three of you give me no rolls.
That is a hard. Wait, no.
A 33 is a hard success.
Yeah, it's all hard.
Okay. And Harvey?
A standard pass.
So all of you, as she, when she greeted each one of you, she reached out her right hand to shake to shake your hands. But something kind of sticks out in your mind, and you realize you don't know where you've heard this, but it should have been her left hand. Etiquette dictates that it should have been her left hand that she shook your hand with, not her right. But with that, she starts making small talk with you, looking around the room. There are still the others in the room. If you recall, Professor Morgan was in there. He's kind of slumped into the corner and is slowly making his way out. There were two other groups in the room. There were the three men who were talking baseball, as well as a pair of gentlemen standing kind of off the side drinking. And as she's talking to you, she says, "Oh, if you'll please excuse me, the time is getting near for our bacchanal. Since you haven't been here before, I look forward to you enjoying this. But please, I have more guests to get to."
Oh, I was just most intrigued by your choice of a Greek classical theming to your event.
Thank you.
I think it's quite charming. My father is quite into the Greek classics. If you have a chance to run into him, he's around here somewhere. I think he'd love to chat with you.
Yes, absolutely. I would love to chat with him too. If he is into the Greek classics, as was my mother, who gave me the name Ariadne and who taught me about the Greek mythology and literature, and kind of became a love for me.
So, question for the GM.
Yes.
What you said previously, do you mean that it's customary for an American woman to give her left hand, and we might think that, well, she's Hungarian, maybe their customs are different? Or do we think, wait, she's using a man's right hand instead of a...
That is a good question. We'll say that you think that the tradition is for on the American side to shake with your left hand, and so it could be that
just be Hungarian.
It could just be that she's Hungarian, or it also could be that she, just doesn't know what proper etiquette is, as somebody in her station in life should have known.
We'll ask Sybil later, because she'll probably know.
That's true. Dr. Benz would know these sorts of things. The choice of entertainment for the evening, as I guess we've kind of gathered, doesn't seem up to Western standards of decorum either.
Are you saying this to her?
No, after she's
walked away, obviously, at this point. So.
Yeah.
Yes, loud piano, you mean?
And with that, in the room next to you, the sitting room, which is just, I guess, to the south of you, that you absolutely hear the piano, continue to strike up. It's a very, jazzy tune, popular tune that has been playing. In fact, the pianist, constantly, you can hear him going from tune to tune, and everybody seems to be, enjoying themselves. Kind of moving over to the parlor. Where Thaddeus, Dr. Bentz, and of course, still attached to Thaddeus's arm, Glenda Bear. She's pulling herself, continually close to you. If you try to step away to go get something, she kind of attaches herself to you. Zoltan was in the room. He has excused himself to go talk to other guests and has made his way out of the room into the foyer. Also in the parlor, if you recall, are two couples. They are kind of sitting in the southwest corner on a table, and then there is a gentleman in kind of the northwest corner, right next to the door that goes to the room north of you, which, from looking in here, looks like a dining room with a number of couples dancing, and you can hear music coming from there as well. Not as loud as a piano, but you definitely hear music. You did notice that when Zoltan came into the room, the gentleman who was kind of sitting off by himself kind of perked up a little bit and started to make his way towards Zoltan, but then Zoltan came to you and started talking, so he kind of shrunk back into his corner.
That fellow, how is he dressed?
He's dressed nicely, but not expensively. So he's wearing a nice suit. It's probably a hand-me-down suit or one that he's had for a while. He's kind of standing in the corner with a drink.
Did he look dejected when Zoltan passed him over, or just resigned, or did he try to cover it?
Give me a psychology roll. You can as well, Dr. Benz.
I am not a keen observer of human nature, unfortunately.
Fail. 64 out of 60.
Unfortunately, you can't really tell. The best that you can tell is, he wanted to talk to Zoltan for some reason, but you can't tell if he was dejected or if he was upset or, any reason, why, just from looking at him.
Rather hard to read.
And the other two couples, there's a table in this room. Are they at the table? Is it two couples chatting, or are they two separate couples?
They're two couples chatting together.
Mm-hmm. Glenda, do you know any of those four?
Oh, yes. And she kind of turns around and goes, yes, those are, I believe that's a Mr. Hardwick and Mr. Douglas with their wives. I apologize. I don't remember their names. I believe that they own they own something in town. I can't remember. It was when they explained it to me, it was quite boring. And so I just, it went out of my head.
And Keeper, as a well-to-do fellow, do I know the Hardwick or Douglas families?
I would say that you do. You know that they are partners in a cartridge firm within Arkham, and with that, they're not a super wealthy couple, but they're it's kind of one of these businesses that's kind of up and coming.
Not elite, but they make money.
Exactly.
Um,
With that, Glenda starts kind of pulling at your arm and whining a little bit, saying, "Thaddeus, I'm hungry. There's food in the next room. Please, let's go get something to eat. I'm starting to become famished."
Of course, Glenda. Let's see what we can find.
And she starts walking, half walking, half pulling you into the room next to you to the north, which is the dining room. Dr. Bence, are you going to follow, or?
I'm glancing back at Dr. Bence. I'm like, should I introduce you, or do you want to stay in? What's the?
I almost want to see if I can talk to that fellow by himself, because I certainly don't want to interrupt Hardwick and Douglas with their wives.
Okay.
If nothing else, maybe get some information about who he is. Maybe not why he wants to talk to Zoltan, but I can at least figure out some information about him, if nothing else.
Okay, yeah. So you start heading towards there. Thaddeus, are you letting Glenda kind of pull you along?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm on the Glenda ride for now.
Okay. I like that. All right. Jumping back over to the library. The three of you are in there. What would you like to do?
I think I'd like to start following her into the other room.
Okay.
So go ahead, Stuart.
Sure. I would like to pursue the lady that threw the drink in the gentleman's face and stormed out. I want to make sure she's okay and find out maybe what's going on. My intent was to do that, but I was intercepted by Adriani when she came down the stairs. So after I spoke with her and she started going away, mine was to carry on after the lady who stormed out.
Okay. All right. And what would Garland like to do?
Still haven't spotted Eugene, and he wasn't with Ariadne.
Not yet. Looking around, in the library, it's kind of what I described in the sitting room. It's the piano player. There are the two gentlemen that you had talked to, the two kind of drunk gentlemen, Stuart Portman and Bartholomew Apley. They're kind of sitting there as well. However, the two women that were talking to Gerhard Winch in the conservatory when you first started talking to him and kind of walked away, they're kind of in the sitting room as well. But those are really all the people that you can see.
I'll go over to those two.
Okay.
I'm sorry for interrupting your conversation back in the conservatory. That was not my intention.
Oh, no. That's okay. One of they're both, blonde ladies. One of them, looks at you, and, no need to apologize. Everybody here is here to have fun and, enjoy talking to each other. And they introduce themselves as to Lorraine and Laura. Are you a friend of Ariadne?
No, I just had the pleasure of meeting her. I'm friends with others who have come to these parties recently, and I decided the invitation says come one, come all, and I think I'm included in that. So I'm excited to see.
That's great. I'm so glad that you were able to come. It's been an exciting couple parties. We've been coming for 3 or 4 weeks now, and it's been very exciting. Every time we're here, something interesting happens.
Yes, it seems to be quite the assortment of people.
It is, and with Gerhard, he provides some entertainment, and with the piano, and with the drinks and the food. You can't get any better than this during this time.
Yes, they seem to be go all out for these lavish affairs. Their selection of drinks is most impressive.
It is. Unfortunately, I think that we're not going to have the same level of entertainment as last week, given what happened. Lorraine says this, and Laura kind of gives her a little bit of look, like a sheepish look, and for a second, not really sure how to respond. And then she finally says, yes, with that, it's, last week was quite interesting. I'm sure Gerhard told you when you were talking to him.
I don't believe he mentioned anything about last week.
Oh, well, with that, Lorraine says, it was so weird. And Laura responds, yes, like in a movie. Are you familiar with what Gerhard does? Did he explain that?
Yes, he says that he talks with spirits.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And last week we had set up a seance. We had pulled together. Everybody had sat around a table. We had dimmed the lights, turned on candles, and Gerhard was attempting to contact a number of different ghosts or those from the dead. It was a great lark until the end. Lorraine is saying this, and Laura just is nodding the whole time. Yes, it was so weird. Everything was going fine. Ariadne had asked Gerhard to try and contact her dead mother back in Hungary. We were all so excited to see if he would be able to do that. And everything was going fine, but then Gerhard, he started to growl, making awful noises, and the other one pipes up, almost like he was choking on something. And Lorraine, kind of is playing off of this a little bit, and she says, "Yes." And then Ariadne, she began screaming, and she fell out of her chair. It was actually terrifying. And with this, she grabs your arm a little bit, kind of squeezes it. It was terrifying. She was, trying to get up, trying to get out from under the table. Was like writhing on the floor, as if she was horrified by something. Gerhard himself, he tried to stand up, and then he just vomited everywhere before falling to his knees. Lorraine continues on. Zoltan, he was very cross. He was yelling at Gerhardt. However, within a couple minutes, everybody had recovered. But unfortunately, that was the end of the evening. I do believe that we will probably not see that again this week. The table has not been set up, unfortunately, and because of that, it's not going to be as fun as last week, but it will make for an interesting story.
Oh, it certainly already is an interesting story.
It was, and Lorraine continues, it's too bad. I was next. I wanted to talk to my dead Uncle Rudolph and ask him where he hid the $1 million. And with that, she kind of pokes Laura a little bit jokingly.
Yes, I suppose there'll always be a long line to talk to the dead.
Absolutely. And your conversation continues on for a minute or two. So Benjamin is in the library still. What was he planning on doing?
I'm just going to sort of eavesdrop on things that everybody else is saying. See if I can hear any stories about what this bacchanal is. I'm scared to death that we're all going to have to take off our clothes. And
yeah, as you are in there, you're not really. You don't really hear anything along those lines. The three men are just really talking about sports, about baseball. The other two men, you do kind of hear them, call each other Edwin and Andreas. From their conversations, you kind of get the idea that they are in kind of they deal in the fine arts. One of them, you believe his name is the one whose name is Edwin. You think he's a rare books owner because he's talking a little bit about the books in there. The other one, Andreas, from eavesdropping on the conversation, it sounds like he owns an art gallery because he mentions how he has loaned some of his work to Zoltan to put in the house, in order to decorate it a little bit.
What time is it, according to my knowledge?
It is getting towards a little bit later in the evening. We'll say about coming up on 10 o'clock.
Okay. Now, this bacchanal thing's supposed to be at midnight?
Roughly, yes.
Roughly. Okay. So if I find the conversation not to be productive, I'm going to see about wandering around other parts of the house. Maybe I'll wander upstairs.
Okay. So you start heading out towards that way to the foyer, through the sitting room into the foyer. As you do that, Mr. Belvedere, what is Harvey doing?
Pursuing the lady who was got upset and stormed off. I want to make sure she's okay and see what that was all about. Maybe I can help at all.
So she, as she's storming out, you kind of follow her. She makes it to the foyer, to the front stairs, and that's kind of where you catch up with her. So what are you going to do in order to kind of get her attention? Or
excuse me, miss. I'm terribly sorry to see such terrible treatment of you back there. Is there anything I can possibly do to help?
She looks a little bit shocked that you've stopped her and you're talking to her. She at first she's like, no, I'm fine. I'm sorry. I need to leave. And with that, she kind of makes to turn around and start leaving again.
And I kind of step forward with her, and in a lower voice, they weren't doing anything. Were they being, were they treating you terribly, or?
Give me a. I think this would be charm or persuade, whatever you have highest in.
Excellent. Ooh, that might work. 29. Does that do anything? 29 charm, persuade. Oh, persuade. Yeah, I'm a lawyer. I've got that. I got a hard success.
With the tone of you asking, or the way that you're asking, and just kind of reaching out to her, she kind of breaks down a little bit. You see the tears welling up in her eyes, and she goes, no, it wasn't the Vargas. They've been very nice to me. It was that damn man, that Professor Morgan. He's one of my professors, and we've had a. And she kind of gets a little bit pink around the cheeks, a little bit embarrassed. We've had a inappropriate relationship that he cut off, and because of that, I feel like I feel used. It is what it is. I just can't be around him. I can't be around this house anymore.
I'm sorry to hear that. That does sound like a difficult situation. Well, do you need a cab called, or?
Oh, thank you. I have a friend who was planning on picking me up anyways. I will just call her and she'll help me get home. I appreciate Mr.
Oh, Mr. Belvedere, Harvey Belvedere.
She says, thank you. My name's Dottie Harris. Thank you very much. I appreciate your kindness, especially with, and she kind of, gives this dirty look back in the direction of the library with that man. It's good to know that there are good people still in this world.
Thank you. You do take care of yourself.
Yes. And with that, Benjamin kind of wanders in here. Jumping back over to Dr. Bentz, as Thaddeus is being more pulled than anything into the dining room, you are kind of half follow them, and then you get to the corner of the parlor where the gentleman is standing. He doesn't really notice you there at first because he's just kind of leaning against the corner of the room. He's got a drink in his hand. Looks like he has whiskey on the rocks, and so he's just kind of swirling it around, just kind of half drinking it. And it takes him, a little bit, a couple of seconds to realize that you're standing in front of him.
May I join you?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Distracted. He kind of reaches out his hand and says, Dalton Abbott.
Dr. Sybil Bentz, Mr. Tond University. How do you
do? Very well, thank you. And you?
Very well myself. This is quite the interesting party, I must say.
It is. This is your first time here.
It is. I'm here with some friends. I have to. I couldn't help but notice. Do you know Lord Varga?
Just from the parties, he and I have talked some, and obviously Ariadne, and when he says her name, his you can kind of tell his breath quickens a little bit as if he has maybe a thing for her. But he continues on and says, well, yes, and Ariadne, I've known them from the parties. It's a fascinating story of their escape from Hungary. It's I'm somewhat of a writer myself.
Are you?
Sorry, yes, up and coming writer, aspiring. I guess I haven't published anything that you've probably heard of, but looking forward to writing their story. I'm hoping this is going to be something that I'm able to do.
Quite interesting. I happen to be a professor of Eastern European history, so if you're looking, and my specialty happens to be Hungary, so if you're looking for any contextual information concerning that, I might be someone you could use as a source.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And he kind of pats his suit, reaches in and grabs a notepad and says, "So, Dr. Bentz, how could I reach you?"
I give him my phone, my phone extension at the U, and probably my mailing address there. Work stuff.
Yeah, thank you. I will absolutely be reaching out to you. It's like I said, it's a fascinating story with their escape and exile from their home in Hungary. Obviously, I'll have to upplay it a little bit. Bring in the romanticism, bring in what the readers want to see, but it makes for an amazing story. Have you heard it yet?
I've just spoken to Lord Varga, as it happens. I've heard most of it, but it sounds like you might know more.
Well, unfortunately, no. I've been trying to get a lot of the information from either he or Ariadne, and unfortunately, every time we go to talk, something we either get interrupted or they obviously at the parties they're being pulled in multiple directions, and so they don't have a lot of time to necessarily spend with me. I was actually hoping to talk to Zoltan today and kind of get this in the works, so I can start on my research.
Of course. I'm not sure where he may have gotten off to, but I'm sure if as it happens, I also speak Hungarian, so I'm certain that if I possibly dropped a bug in his ear, I might be able to get him to sit with you for a while.
And he looks, as you say that, he looks very excited. I would absolutely love that. Please do, and I will absolutely, make sure that I'm giving you, full credit within the book. This could be very exciting. And he kind of continues, kind of talking about this almost, nonstop. He starts to get very excited as you kind of describe what you do and the knowledge you have and so on. All right.
I can't help it. It's kind of cute. I mean, academics or someone gushing about their background.
Yeah, and he continues on for a little while. Again, he's probably typical guy who is just kind of excited about what he's doing, wants just to keep talking about it, and so he starts to actually pepper you with questions about Hungary and about the area and how this would happen, and some of the political infighting or anything like that the history that could lead up to them being exiled and so on.
And I'd quite happily answer everything that I know about that, because this is sort of my area of expertise, and of course, academics get us talking about our area and we don't shut up.
Yep, absolutely. So Thaddeus, as Dr. Bentz is talking to this gentleman, excuse me, Glenda pulls you into the dining room. As you walk into the dining room, you see a very large dining room table that is filled with food, just kind of spread out. Most of them are things like cold cuts, breads, although you do see a very large pot of what Glenda, immediately tells you is authentic Hungarian goulash prepared by Frida, the maid. She came over with them, And but as you walk in, there are two couples dancing, and in the corner is a gentleman running a phonograph, playing some modern records, jazz, things like that. But almost immediately, as you walk in, one of the couples, the women, kind of whirls around and kicks you right in the shins as she's doing the Charleston.
Oh.
She goes, oh my goodness, I am so sorry. Please forgive me. I didn't see you there.
Yeah, we just came in. It's interesting that the dance floor and the dining hall are in the same room.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. We've just kind of set up here, and you know how music takes you. Please, are you okay?
Yeah, so I'll be fine.
Oh, okay. Well, again, I'm very, very sorry. And with that, she kind of turns around and continues to go back to her dance partner.
Oh, the fellow who's running the phonograph. This is a 1923 DJ. He's just
essentially yes.
Shellac albums on a rack, and he's keeping it cranked.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And you would know this. Definitely, looking at the phonograph that he's using, it's not something that's cheap. He's using a very expensive phonograph. The records that he has look expensive as well. So, you're not, this isn't somebody who just, kind of picked it up at the five and dime. It's, somebody who likely has money.
Right. So, Granddad used to be like, do they always have dancing in here?
Oh yes, almost every week. She looks around and says, "Oh, Bobby over there. He's here almost every week, playing his records in order." And they're dancing breaks out. Why do you like to dance? And she kind of gets a little gleam in her eye.
Oh, I have all of my feet are left entirely.
Oh, she looks a little disappointed with that, but
and all these new fast. I'm trained in the waltz sort of era. I like to listen though. I like to see a live act. Anybody? Have you seen anybody yet that's been one of Ariadne's special fellows?
Oh, well, everybody, is, most men here are eyeing her.
Hopefuls, yes, but nobody that she's chosen in the past.
No, not that I have seen. Usually once somebody, she chooses somebody, I have a feeling that, and she kind of, smiles coyishly as she says this. I have a feeling that, their heart gets broken, and so because of that, they don't come back. I mean, once you've been with Ariadne, it's difficult when she moves on.
Now you're a lovely young woman. It seems like you're not jealous. Certainly, it doesn't seem that you're jealous of Lisa for captivating power over man.
No, I find it. I find what she does and who she is interesting and exhilarating. But I could never do that. Once I find my man, and with that she kind of squeezes your arm again. Once I find my man, I'm a one man woman. And so to me, this is all fun, but as the fun has to end sometimes, and we need to settle down.
So why don't you get yourself a plate of something tasty, and we'll make our way back to the bar. My gin is looking on the dry side.
Okay. Oh, okay. And I'll meet you in there. And with that, she kind of turns around into the dining room. You do notice, though, that as she's pulling food out from a little hallway in the kind of the outside wall on the north side. There's a doorway. Somebody comes out, one of the servants or maids or waitresses, whatever you want to call them, with a plate of food. As that door swings, you do see that that leads into the kitchen. Benjamin, I believe that you said that you were going to try to go upstairs.
That's correct.
All right, so
I'm an investigator, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of look around and make sure there's like the coast is clear. And I'll grab a drink and I'll go upstairs so that if somebody catches me, I can pretend to be drunk.
Okay. So you start making your way towards the into the foyer, up the stairs. I'll tell you what, give me a luck roll.
17.
Oh, I'm sure that made that. You start making your way up the stairs of the foyer. As you do that, really the only people who are in there are Harvey and talking to the one lady, and the way that he's kind of positioned, she's either ignoring you or doesn't care. You get up to the second floor, and remember there are these stairs in the center of the foyer that lead up. When you get up to the second floor, you basically see a long hallway with a number of doors along either side. You can see along where the stairs are, there's not necessarily a hallway, it's more like a banister that looks down into the foyer from the second floor.
I'm going to make an immediate left and head down the hall towards the end, towards 1 and 3.
Okay. You get down there. But all of the doors are closed. There's nothing. There's nobody up here that you can tell. In fact, it's as best you can tell, nobody saw you come up either.
Okay. First door I get to is 1 on the right hand side. Mm-hmm. I'll just try it and see if it's open.
It is open. You open the door. It looks like it is a very large bedroom, probably the master bedroom. There are a couple of doors that lead to a washroom, but it's just standing at the door. That's really what you can see.
Okay, I'll step inside and close the door.
Okay,
and start snooping around.
Okay, go ahead and give me a. So you look around the room. You just kind of glancing around the room. You see a bed in one side of the room, a desk, some dressers, and a table. As far as you can tell, just by looking around the room, there's nothing sitting out. There's no papers, there's no books or anything like that.
All right. I will. Is there, like you said, desk?
Yes.
I'll go over to the desk and I'll check to see if there's anything in the desk.
You open up the desk. You do find a writing tablet, some pens, some envelopes. None of them, or I'm sorry. The tablet is empty. There is one envelope in there. It looks like that somebody has started to write. Based on the handwriting, you suspect that this is Zoltan's room.
If I take the pad of paper and I hold it up to the light, can I see if there's any impression of writing on top?
You can. It does look like he had been using it at some point.
Is there a pencil?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right. I'm going to take a pencil. I'm going to lightly go sideways to see if I can bring out what's written on the pad.
Give me another luck roll just to see, how much you're able to see.
Really nosy. I got an 06.
Wow. Okay. So you are able to make out, pretty closely what Zoltan had been writing before. It looks like he had been writing a letter. It looks, from what you can tell, it's to a gentleman named Hal Partland in Boston, Massachusetts. And basically all the letter says is Thursday morning, or I'm sorry, Thursday afternoon, the park near your office, I will meet you with the $200. And that is all that it says.
All right. I'll put that carefully back where I found it. And continue to snoop. I'll go over to the tables, next to the bed. Does it look like just one person sleeps in this bed?
How would you? You mean like? Is there? I see what you're saying.
Is it a big bed?
It is a big bed. It's a king size bed.
Okay.
From what you can tell, though, I mean the bed's made. I guess you're a detective, so you kind of know what these would look like. Looking at the bed, kind of the impressions on the pillows. You can see that it looks like two people might sleep in this bed. Definitely one person. The second person, you're not necessarily as sure. Maybe possibly, but it's hard to tell.
Now I'm keeping my ears peeled.
Mm-hmm.
If I hear anyone, I'm going to quickly go into the bathroom.
Okay.
And then I'll pretend like I just got lost. And anything in the dressers next to they're not dressers, but the end tables next to the bed?
Nothing in the end tables. Looking in the dressers, you find men's clothes, which kind of solidifies this being Zoltan's room.
Right.
The clothes are kind of nice, somewhat expensive clothes, kind of what you saw him wearing tonight.
Okay.
Or what you would expect.
I'll give a quick cursory look around, see if there's anything that stands out, anything that I might want to look at, any place where there might be hidden stuff.
You don't see anything like that. You kind of do a good search around the room. Give me a spot hidden though.
If there's like a wardrobe, I'll check in the bottom of the wardrobe for a box or
okay.
28. That's the spot hidden. I will get new glasses. Spot hidden. 70. Yeah, I guess I did see. Yeah. That's
okay. So that's at least a hard success.
Yeah.
So looking around the room, he does have a wardrobe. You do find it's not a hidden compartment, but it's kind of something tucked in the back where you open it up and there is a fairly large sum of money in kind of like a cigar box. If you looking through it quickly, you would guess that there's probably a good $1,000 to $2,000 in here. In that cigar box. Mm-hmm. You kind of do another cursory search around the room because you got a hard success on your spot hidden. You go back to the bed and you because it's bugging you. You're a good detective. You're trying to figure these things out, and you look at kind of not the main set of pillows, but the other set of pillows, and you do find a couple hairs on there that are brunette.
Long brunette hairs.
Long brunette hairs.
Did Ariadne have long hair?
She had long brunette hairs.
Well, I don't think she's sleeping with her daughter, but uncle. But he might, I don't know what goes on with his bacchanal. Maybe he gets somebody up here for himself too, but I'll keep that in mind. Right. And then I will go back over to the door and I will open it just to crack, make sure there's nobody in the hallway or coming up the stairs, and then I'll slip out and close the door.
You look in the hallway, you don't see anybody. Everybody seems to still be downstairs.
Okay. And I'll slip out.
Okay. Let's jump over to Garland. Garland, you were talking to the two blonde ladies in I think it was the sitting room. Your conversation kind of, wanes and comes to an end. You get the impression that they get bored very easily. And so they kind of wander around. What else do you do?
Well, still haven't seen Eugene. I'm just ever more intrigued by the people that are coming to this party because I'm familiar enough with the high society of Arkham, and this is not them, really.
No, you're right. In fact, give me I guess that would be a no roll.
5. That's an extreme.
Getting all those good rolls in. As you're thinking about this, you're right. You as you look across everybody who's here, you're not dealing with, kind of the cream of the crop. In fact, you get the impression that a lot of the people here are kind of in that category where they're mid to wealthy, kind of in that middle area there. The people who are trying to break into that kind of upper crust, but just haven't quite got there, or that's kind of one category of people that you're seeing here. The other category of who you're seeing are kind of everyday, normal people, for lack of a better term, who are really just trying to get a glimpse at the glamour of what they think is the high life. Since you did so well too, you've kind of noticed that the kind of normal people, for the most part, as you talk to them, they're the ones that Ariadne invited. The ones that are kind of more on the wealthy side, they're the ones that Zoltan invited.
Interesting.
So you're in the sitting room. Do you want to go anywhere else?
The piano's pretty loud. So at this point, I'll probably grab a drink and head across the way over to the other side.
Okay. So as you're making your way across the other side, Harvey, after you have your conversation, where were you going to go? Kind of in that same general direction as well. Harvey.
Sorry, I think a little chop came back. I would like to go meander to the kitchen and see what's going on in there without going right into it. I'd like to kind of hover at the entrance, sort of listen in.
Okay.
See if anything out of the ordinary is going on.
Okay. So you're in the foyer, Garland. As you start to kind of make your way, you see Harvey kind of go. There's a little bit of an entranceway behind the stairs in the foyer, which leads to the kitchen. You know this because you've seen the waitresses kind of coming in and out of that way. You see Harvey start heading that way. Were you gonna? Would you like to go with him, or more towards heading towards the parlor? Those are kind of your two options.
I'll keep heading towards the parlor. I don't want to. I don't know what Harvey's up to, and I don't want to get in his way.
Sure. So you head into the parlor. You can see Dr. Bentz there, talking to the one gentleman, Dalton Abbott, in the corner, and your father at this point in time kind of walks back in as well. Harvey, as you start going back to the kitchen, you go back in there. The hallway only goes, like maybe 20 feet or so, and then it opens up into the kitchen. The door is open. As you kind of walk towards it, you can see kind of the bustling of movement as there are a number of people, the waitresses kind of moving back and forth, making preparations, making more food, bringing the food in and out. Give me I think this would be a spot hidden roll.
65 out of 60, a fail.
Or unless you wanted to spend the 5 luck for that.
No.
Okay. So as you get closer, you can see, people moving in and out. You do notice though that there is a couple doors in there. There's definitely a door that goes out onto the back of the house, outside of the house. And then there's another door that seems to be closed to the right of the door as soon as you step into the kitchen, or as you can see this as you would step into the kitchen. That seems to be shut, although every once in a while you can kind of see this like hazy smoke coming out from under the door there.
Interesting. Does it seem like, how bizarre? And no one is paying any particular attention to it?
No, in fact, as you watch this, you can see how some of the waitresses, as they walk past it, they kind of wrinkle their nose as if it's a very distasteful smell.
Am I getting wafts of it? Does it just smell like cooking meat or something? Or
Are you going closer into the kitchen? I'm imagining right now you're in the hallway.
yeah. Oh, okay. I'll step in.
Okay, so you walk into the kitchen, and as you get closer, you kind of smell this acrid smoke. You would definitely know that this smells of marijuana. In fact, as you kind of step in, the door there opens up, and a man walks in, a young man in his early 20s, very red eyes, and just kind of looks around. He's kind of got this, goofy smile on his face. He looks at you and says, "Oh, hey, would you like to get hopped up?"
Ooh, that does sound tempting. Maybe a little later. Where would I go for such a wonderful journey?
Oh, he's like, "Oh, you got to come down." He can't lifts up this little baggie with some dried green herbs. It's a small paper bag. It wouldn't be plastic at this time.
Yeah.
And he says, "Oh, well, if you want, Eugene and I are in the basement. Just come down. Everybody's welcome."
Oh, right, down the basement. How do I get down to the basement?
Oh, just right through here. And he kind of turns around, and you kind of tell his balance is a little bit off. He goes, "Oh, just down this way." And with that, he just kind of, not even, acknowledging any other conversation, he just continues back down the stairs.
All right. Okay, I will just move on and exit the kitchen.
So you can go back the way you came, or you can kind of go through that and into the dining room. So far, everybody else seems to have, except for
I will
Benjamin.
Go out the other way.
Okay, so you can kind of go through the other way. That leads you into the dining room. You see like I described before, the big table of food, the couples dancing, the person running the phonograph, and through the southern door, you can look into the parlor. You see Dr. Bentz, you see Thaddeus and Garland in there.
Okay, I will just fix myself another glass of water.
Okay.
And make it sort of look like a cocktail, and start arching around looking for Ben.
Okay. Ben, at this point, you've come out, you've done your searching upstairs. You peek out through the door, you don't see anybody, so you are able to go into the hallway.
All right, I'll go into the hallway. And then I'll go down a little farther towards the next door, which I think is 3.
Okay. You open that door. It looks to be another bedroom, much smaller than before. A smaller bed, smaller dresser. There is a nightstand.
Still no noise, so there's no. I'm also anticipating there might be some partying going on up here, but I'll peek inside. Does this look like possibly Ariadne's room?
No, it looks too small to be Ariadne's room. Okay. If you had to guess, maybe it's either a guest room, or more likely it's the maid Frida's room.
Oh. She looked rather intimidating. She could snap my neck. If it looks like it might be the maid's room, for some reason, I don't think I'll go in there.
Okay.
I think I have no reason to suspect the maid. Unless glancing around, I notice something obvious. I will.
Give me a spot hidden. Let's see if you see anything.
Oh, that's a 64. What is my spot hidden? 70. So, yeah, I barely passed.
You don't see much around the room. There's a bed. There's some dirty clothes kind of hung over a chair. On the nightstand, you do see there's a magazine lying next to the bed. But other than that, you don't see anything.
I don't see anything out of place, like artwork hanging on the walls in the maid's room. Yeah.
No, in fact, the walls are bare.
There. Okay. So I will turn around and I will start going back towards the center and then towards the other bedrooms.
Okay. As you start going down the hallway, you have to pass in front of the foyer.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Give me another luck roll.
Okay. 46. That's a 6, and my luck is 65. So I'm cool.
So you go down. You pass in front of the stairs down to the foyer. Have no issues getting by. Nobody, the maids or anything are, or the maid or the waitresses are passing by, and so you kind of get to the other side, and there are 2 other rooms.
Okay. Which door do I come to first?
If you keep going straight, you'll get to room number 2. Otherwise, you kind of have to turn the corner a little bit, and you do have to go to room number 4. Now, this one does look over into the foyer, and so there's probably a bigger chance that you would, if somebody walks by, they're probably going to see you right there.
All right. So I'll go towards 2 instead, just straight down the hall.
Okay. So you start heading towards there. Give me a listen roll.
89. I don't think that's good.
So you continue down.
Yeah.
Okay. You continue down the hallway, getting to the door to room number 2, and it's closed.
Okay. I will put my hand on the door and see if it's unlocked.
Yes.
And open it just a little bit.
You open it just a little bit, and you hear noises coming from inside of the room.
Oh.
These are noises of a woman moaning.
Sex moaning? Or
yes.
Oh, okay. I'll close that door. I don't want to, and it probably sounded like she was right there. So, is there another door farther on this in the straight line?
No, there is, but based on the configuration of Zoltan's room, you suspect that it leads to the bathroom, to another washroom.
Well, then I'm going to turn around and put on an act as I get to the banister, and then I'll go back down the stairs.
Okay, so you start heading back down the stairs.
Yeah.
The other 4 of you, by this point in time, you've all kind of gathered in or near the parlor, back together again.
How's your little date going, Father?
Don't be cute, Garland. I'm gonna, unless you have something to import, I'm gonna grab another bit of gin and see if I can hide from her in the conservatory. It might be dark enough there.
It is fairly
I'll tell you one thing.
Oh, yeah.
She said that the Hungarian goulash is cooked by the maid who came over from the old country, so they're probably spreading tales on some level.
I raise an eyebrow at that.
One thing that I've kind of noticed, Father, is the more affluent people seem to be invited by Zoltan to these, where the more people of lower standing seem to be invited by Ariadne. It's quite a
a lot of social climbers here, and maybe people on the rocks, and yet they have a bigger party every week. Eugene is. His neck is on the chopping block to be Ariadne's next one-night stand.
Yeah, and there's
a bit of a process where they're working through young men.
Yeah, that seems to be. There was also a séance that seemed to go awry. I mean, I don't take much stock in the supernatural, as you know, but it seemed to have caused quite the stir and disturbance. Anger Zoltan quite a bit.
Well, he seemed charming, and Dr. Bentz thought he was legitimately upper-class Hungarian, at least, right?
Yes. Hungarian at least. Upper class, I'm not entirely certain. And by this point, I've extricated myself from Mr. Rabbit, so he's not hearing any of this.
Right.
Okay.
As far as I can tell, he's certainly Hungarian. He certainly has the manners to suggest nobility. So I think that at least is genuine. But I've only spent 5 minutes with the man, so I can't say for certain.
Well, I can tell you, and as long as nobody else can hear us, I've been upstairs. I've been in Mr. Zoltan's room. He does have an amount of cash in his wardrobe, a couple of $1,000s.
Really?
That's not so unusual. I mean, he must have some money. I also noticed that Harvey, we're going to have to look up somebody named Hal Portland in Boston. Apparently, he has a meeting with Mr. Portland on Thursday at the park near his office, and he says he'll have the $200. So I don't know what that's all about. Gambling or paying him for something, or...
It may be Hal Portland. Interesting.
It's also, I saw the maid's room. There didn't seem to be anything unusual there. It's as Spartan as you think that it would be. And there's apparently, I was hoping to get Mr. Ariadne's room, but there's somebody up there engaged in,
This is a bacchanal, Mr. Armand.
Yeah, I didn't go inside or disturb them, but if Miss Ariadne's down here, then who's up there in her room? I mean, I'm guessing that it's her room. There's a couple of other rooms, but it was too dangerous to get to them because I'd be seen.
There's also downstairs seems to be where a lot of drug use is going on right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, quite a bit. Like the door downstairs, there's smoke of that kind billowing out of it.
Like certain times in the dorms, I see.
I don't know what else is going on down there, but good.
Well, what if Eugene's down there? Maybe we should. Somebody
Certainly
should
a possibility,
go down and peek.
especially if Chexley was into the reefer, if I recall, Garland.
But yes, he was. I would assume that Eugene and Gordon would run together in these places, and I certainly haven't seen him up here, and it's not something he would miss. So, unless Eugene is accompanying the lady upstairs, I'm pretty sure he's downstairs.
So I think we found him.
All right, I'll go.
Would you like someone to come with you?
Probably.
Let's say this. Why don't you go down, if Harvey can point the way, and I'll give you, 6-8 minutes to either bring them up, or I'll come down and I can pretend to be a paternal authority.
Well, that sounds reasonable enough.
Right through the kitchen. I don't think you'll be able to miss the door. Follow the wafts of smoke.
Is it only Garland going?
Seems that way.
Okay. Are you going to, or are you just gonna?
I think you'd rather intimidate the young people, don't you think, Mr.
Yeah, well, let the young guy go.
Yeah, same thought.
And I certainly can't. I work at Mr. Tonic, so the moment I show up, they'll scatter.
I'll say to Dr. Bentz, at some point you did notice Professor Morgan kind of leaving the party. While you weren't in the room when this happened, you certainly would have heard about it. Something like that happens in a party like this. Everybody starts talking about it, at least for a couple minutes.
Do I have the gossip to take with me later? I never liked him.
So Garland, you head into the kitchen. It's very easy to find the door to the basement. As soon as you open it, you are just kind of assaulted with the smell of marijuana smoke. As you head down the stairs into the basement, the stairs kind of go down, and then they like curve around and go down a little bit more. As you kind of turn the corner to go down, you see in front of you, kind of leaning against, it looks like there's a wine rack down there. This is partially for storage, partially for wine, although the wine rack is very sparse. But as you go down, you can see leaning back against the wine rack and against some boxes are both Gordon Checkley and Eugene Wilcox. They have lit up a joint, and as soon as you walk down, they both immediately recognize you and say, "Garland, oh, I didn't know you had been invited to this party. Please, come join us." It's Gordon talking.
This is it's been causing quite the stir, it would seem. It's quite an interesting event.
It is, and Eugene, smiles and says, "Oh, absolutely, it is. We've been coming here for weeks. Have you seen Ariadne?"
I have. She's quite a catch. It would.
She is. Most of the men here are kind of hoping that she chooses them tonight. I'm sure you've heard about her bacchanals and how she is, with free love and all of that.
I have, but I've also heard that the people that she chooses don't tend to return.
Oh, I don't know about that. Eugene says, if they are, it's because they're heartbroken. I can't even remember who has been here before. In fact, and he starts laughing. I can't even remember who's been here earlier tonight. And he takes another smoke off of the joint and actually passes it and offers it to you.
All right, I'll take it, and I'll hold it for a second. But I'm not going to puff it. But I'm going to keep talking until they kind of get distracted again, and then pass it along.
Okay. That's pretty easy to do. They're for the most part kind of talking nonsense, just random things. At one point, Gordon looks at you and says, "So what do you think of the Vargas? That's having an escaped royalty right in our midst and getting to intermingle with them. It's quite amazing. It's for the movies, I think."
Yeah, it's quite the interesting story, for sure. I'm not surprised somebody's writing it up right now. They could sell it.
Absolutely. And Eugene kind of spits up or starts talking, and he goes, "Yeah, I can't believe that anybody." He starts to actually get upset and a little bit aggressive. He says, I can't believe anybody would ever not believe their stories or would ever think that they have anything but such good intentions. You know what I would do? You know what I would do if I found out that they were like that? He kind of steps back, reaches into his coat pocket, and pulls out a derringer and starts waving it around the room. I would bang, I'd shoot them. And he just at that point he reaches over, grabs a joint, just starts laughing uncontrollably, and kind of puts the gun back a little bit into his coat pocket.
Oof. You've built up quite a passion while I've been away.
I've grown up. And so have you. So you're right. You've been gone away a while. Why have you come back?
Just spending some time with my father over the summer.
Oh, okay.
Break in the school.
Oh,
so.
Great. Do you, are you going to be back for long? Are you going to be coming to the party next week?
Oh, I believe so. Unless of course I'm chosen tonight, in which case I'm destined to never return.
With that, Eugene just starts laughing, kind of even more uncontrollably. He's like, "Oh, it's Garland, I'm sorry. No offense, but this is your first time here. I mean, I've been coming for weeks and trying to get Ariadne's eye. I think my time is tonight, so I don't want to.
Well, Eugene, if you want to catch her eye, you're not going to do it in this wine cellar. Let's get you out. Let's get you.
Go ahead and give me a persuade or charm with a bonus die. Whichever's higher for you.
Charm's a little higher. A 45 against 30. That's a lot of luck. So
he at first you see him looking at you, and you can kind of tell that the slow drug-addled brain of his is starting to process what you're saying. And then Gordon passes him the joint again, and he's like, "No, I'll stay in here. The bacchanal is going to happen soon, and I'll come up then."
So, we'll 6 or 8 minutes. What do you think? And I'll be conferring upstairs, having fetched a gin and tonic.
Yeah. This is about all right time. 6 or 8 minutes.
Yes, I'd say go right about now.
Well, so downstairs, I'll stand up, and I said, "Well, I'll see you at the bacchanal, and we'll see who Ariadne picks, the one who she's seen upstairs more, or the one who's been down here enjoying themselves alone in the dark." And I'll walk away.
You can as you start walking away towards the stairs and up the stairs, you can hear Eugene and Gordon laughing, and Eugene kind of yells out, "Yep, we'll see who's the winner tonight," continuing to laugh. So you make your way up the stairs. About this time, Thaddeus, this is when you enter the kitchen. You see a Garland come out.
Well, you're alone, but you look intact. You smell like an old skunk.
Ugh. I hate the smell of that stuff, but I mean, when his parents were worried, I think they were onto something. He's gone a little touched in the head.
Well, let's go to the kitchen. So it seems like their concern about the family fortune being snagged by Europeans is less relevant than his reefer mad friend just hanging out in the cellar with him.
Yeah, Gordon's just, I think he just likes the company. But Eugene, he got himself all worked up about people thinking ill of the host of the Vargas. He even has a gun on him, waving around quite irresponsibly, I might add. But they've got a passion worked up in that boy like none other. So, if Ariadne says jump, I'm sure he'll ask how high.
I wonder if we should just shove a matchbook under the door at 11:40 and let them stumble in the dark when the bell is rung, I mean, I was hoping we could drag him out of the party by 11:30 and take him home, but it sounds like he's belligerent and possibly dangerous to himself and others.
Yeah, how are we going to handle this? So far, this just looks like a bunch of ex-rich people throwing a party. I haven't seen anything really illegal here. I mean, they're using some illegal drugs, but meh. Well, we're all drinking alcohol, which is technically an illegal drug at the moment.
Quite irresponsible use of a firearm, though.
Well, drunk people on drugs.
And we don't even know if it's loaded, right? I mean, the lag could be showing off.
Derringers are usually 22s.
The biggest problem here is that we're trying to come between a parent and their child, and the child's old enough to make decisions for himself.
That is true. He's just He just seems quite enchanted by this whole situation.
Yeah,
we
well,
could-
to
Seems to
comment-
be caught up in the excitement, the romanticism of it.
Certainly, it's quite the entrancing story if you don't look any deeper. Granted, from what I've been able to dig up, it appears that most of it is genuine, but
look, even if we take Eugene out of here, and what the heck are we going to do? Take him back to his parents? He'll just come here tomorrow
next week at least. Yeah.
next week, yes.
or whatever.
Yeah.
I guess we just
mean,
have
we
to
can't
hope
tie him up.
that somebody else is chosen tonight and sends him spiraling.
Garland.
Oh, not me, Father.
Your competitive spirit
Every,
has gotten you into trouble in the past.
I was
Every-
about to say, Mr. Vandermolen, in my class, you've certainly showed that spirit yourself when it came to papers and presentations.
Well, the look on the look on Eugene's face if I was chosen over him would be priceless, and I would treasure it forever. But I don't believe I've had enough of a conversation with Ariadne for sure to even remember who I am.
Most likely not.
Dr. Benz, if I was meeting you for the first time,
Yes?
extend your hand as in a greeting for me.
Would this be a no roll keeper?
No, I would say you would know what to do.
Okay. Without thinking too much about it, I extend my left.
Okay. Now, do the Hungarians have a different custom that you're aware of?
To your knowledge, they do not.
No. Mm-mm. As far as I'm aware, it matches American custom, yes.
Well, Miss Ariadne, when we first met her, she extended her right hand.
Really?
And I thought that a bit odd because a man extends his right hand. And
She was raised in Hungary
yeah, if
And
she
would have-
has European
and would have no
manners,
reason and would have no reason not to know that. Now, granted, when I spoke to Lord Varga, he did mention that Ariadne, in his opinion, was trying to distance herself from her European mannerisms, but that wouldn't extend to her handshake, I don't believe.
right. And I also noticed, this is very odd, but I found long brunette hairs in Mr. Zoltan's bed.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, either it's
It might mean nothing,
maybe perhaps that's where these bacchanals are consummated.
Could be. It could be. We still
And-
don't know what this is going to be. Has anybody asked anybody what to expect?
No.
There's a gong is rung. Everybody kind of gathers. She descends the steps and she chooses somebody, and then there's a chant with it too. I think they say
Some sort of prayer to Bacchus.
yeah, and then she takes whoever she chose back upstairs, and the party continues on.
Rest of the evening, I believe.
No. I'm not going up if she chooses me.
And-
Although, given that, as you said, what you heard upstairs, I wouldn't think it terribly strange if Lord Varga had a lover.
No, I thought about that too. I mean, we're just humans,
Mm-hmm.
But what has me concerned is that none of the previous people that have gone up with Adriani have shown up afterwards.
Well, that's what we've heard, but I mean, we don't really even know how true that is. We have no experience.
I mentioned that to Eugene, and he didn't seem to mind. But then again, he doesn't really seem to be in mind of anything.
Everybody seems to be intrigued with the concept. I mean, what are we talking about? Having sex with Ariadne. That seems...
Most likely.
It just seems like party stuff, not like... I mean, what's the big deal?
She's an attractive lady, but
Attractive woman.
young
They're
lady.
young.
But,
People are young. She doesn't seem to, she doesn't think old people. She thinks young people.
yeah.
She,
Keeper, can I do a no roll to see what I might know about, like, what the symbolism behind this Bacchus rite might be?
Sure.
70 out of 85.
You know that it just kind of what it sounds like. You potentially, when it was first started in ancient Greece, it was used as a ceremony to worship Bacchus or exalt him. However, as time has gone on, it's very commonly been used to basically as an excuse to party, to perform, exactly. To act outside of what the cultural norms would be, as an excuse to, do whatever you want.
Okay. So there's a very decent chance that this rite might not even be honoring Bacchus anymore.
Right.
And it's just a pretense to have these parties where people can do what they like and not actually be honoring the god it's supposedly in worship of.
I mean, I don't know for sure, but are there any people that actually worship the ancient Greek gods anymore? The Greeks have been Christian for 2,000 years.
Well, yes, this is true. The Romans as well.
Yeah.
Bacchus, in fact, I should probably have mentioned before, but Bacchus is the Roman name of Dionysus.
Right. And it's wine. I mean, I've seen pictures, wine, usually satyrs running around with gigantic penises. Yes. And young women with, naked women running around. It's all, it's rites of spring.
The Bacchae, yes.
Right.
Fertility and passion and transgression and all of that.
But for them, it wasn't. For them, it was just a springtime orgy, a celebration of Bacchus. Now it's just an excuse to have an orgy.
Right.
As you're having this conversation, you're all in the parlor. You hear from the foyer a gong sound. With that, everybody kind of stops. They look around, and the gong sounds again, and everybody starts to make their way into the foyer.
Well, I guess here's the show starts.
Here we are.
It's not midnight, I guess.
You look. You're right. It's not midnight. It's probably maybe 11:15. But
Their own rules.
Exactly. And as you're standing in the parlor, Glenda comes in, grabs your arm and starts pulling you to the foyer. Oh, it's about to start. Please, the invocation of Bacchus. You must see it. I'll help you through it.
Have Eugene and Gordon come upstairs?
Are you heading into the foyer?
Yeah.
So as everybody in the house starts to gather in the foyer, you can see that sitting on a table that has been set up at the bottom of the stairs is a gong that the Frida the maid is standing next to. Everybody starts to gather, and Eugene and Gordon also, come in. Eugene kind of gives you this sly smile as he does.
I'm going to kind of position myself near the door in the foyer so that if everybody starts taking off their clothes, I can step outside.
Okay.
I'm going to put myself in a position where I can sort of observe the room as this is all going on.
Okay.
Sort of observe the dynamics between all these people.
Okay. With that, as you start, positioning yourself around the room, everybody kind of gathers into the room, and you see step out. As you look upstairs onto the second floor, the one door that Benjamin did not go into opens up, and Ariadne steps out. She's wearing a different dress this time. In fact, this dress is white, but it's almost see-through. It's very transparent. She starts walking down. She walks to the top of the stairs. She has a glass of wine in her hand, and she raises it up and says, "To Bacchus, patron of wine and revelry." With that, the crowd, everybody in the room raises their glass up in the air and says, "To Bacchus," all in unison. As a response to that, Ariadne says, "To love, to life, to youth everlasting, to immortality." And she raises her drink again. And as in response, everybody obviously has done this before. Everybody raises their drink and says, "May our bell never toll," and everybody takes a drink. Everybody give me a spot hidden.
44, that is a success.
Hard.
Fail.
So those that succeed, notice that Zoltan is he's kind of in the room, but he's more kind of standing in the doorway between the foyer and the sitting room, almost as if he. You kind of get the impression maybe he doesn't approve of this, but he's kind of positioned himself so that he's just kind of watching everybody and not watching Ariadne. Ariadne, though, she starts to walk down these stairs from the upstairs down into the foyer, hamming it up the whole time. She's taking each step, smiling at everyone. And as she gets to the bottom of the stairs, she starts looking around, specifically at all of the different men. She starts wandering around the room, smiling, holding her drink out. And as she passes, she stops in front of Garland. She kind of reaches her hand up, does Garland have a beard as well?
Sure.
All right. So she starts stroking your beard, smiles, kind of leans into your ear and says, "We've only just met tonight. Come back next week." And with that, she turns around, starts walking away from you directly towards Eugene Wilcox. She walks towards him right past, as she does this, she walks right past Stuart Portman and Bartholomew Apley. Remember, these are the two men who were very intoxicated in the sitting room, who were really hoping that they were going to be the ones who were chosen. Walks right past them, right up to Eugene, puts her hand in his hand and starts walking, leading him up the stairs. And of course, as he does this, still kind of, he's obviously high still. He kind of looks back, finds Garland, he finds you in the crowd, and just has the biggest grin on his face. She leads him up. Excuse me. She leads him up the stairs, kind of turns the corner, and you see both she and Eugene go into her room, and the door shuts. Almost immediately, everybody starts talking. They start drinking. Nobody is taking off their clothes. Everybody is just kind of dispersed. Once this has happened, everybody kind of takes this as a cue to continue on with the revelry.
That's it. And something more.
Harvey, I think that if we don't try to get Eugene out of that room, we're not doing Wilcox's the favor they asked. He's an adult of sorts with rights, but clearly, they're worried about the fortune. But I'm concerned that there's something else that is at risk here. Do we risk offending everyone at this party by trying to bust it up, or do we just tell the Wilcoxes that it'll probably be a short-lived affair and she'll never see him again?
Well, it seems like that's what ends up happening with these people she picks. It's a one night stand and then it's broken off. So it's a hard lesson. Usually they need to learn the hard way.
I
It's
wonder.
hard as if it goes on for some time. If a young man disappeared every week, we'd know about it. Not like they're chopping their heads off and
Yeah,
hurling the letter to Hungary.
they're probably just dismayed down in the dumps and they'll get back to their life.
If you think something nefarious is going on, did you notice old Zotan over there wasn't really interested in this ceremony?
Yeah, I noticed that too.
If something's going on, he would know about it.
Yeah.
What if we just say, well, yeah, after he has his fun, we're going to have to take him home because his parents want to see him.
I like that approach.
He will stop whatever's happening
It's-
if he thinks he's
It
getting
would probably,
caught.
in that case, it would probably be best if I talk to him. I can keep it discreet, shall we say.
Just say you're a friend of the parents and that you're kind of keeping an eye on him.
Certainly.
Yeah.
He's still, as the conversations have started back up, as the groups have started to go back to the rooms that they were in, he's still in the sitting room. You can hear, while the bacchanal was going on, the piano stopped. You can hear it start back up.
I'm going to basically head over sort of toward him, just following the flow of the crowd. And once I'm in earshot, I drop into Hungarian, sort of under my breath, being like, I'm actually here on request of the young man selected tonight's parents.
We're watching to make sure that she's not in any danger.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not too far away.
They're rather they're concerned for his safety, and it seems that perhaps you and I may work in similar purposes in this regard.
He says, I'm not sure I understand you. What you mean? He looks intrigued as you say this.
Still in Hungarian, I say, as head of her family, I believe you would still have the authority to break up this assignation, should you not?
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Well, Ariadne is, and he's speaking to you in Hungarian.
Mm-hmm.
Ariadne is just having her fun. I've tried to put a stop to it, but I found that with the way that she is, it's best to just let her do this. It's a phase she's going through.
Nevertheless, when she's done with him, I suppose, we would like to be able to take him home after.
Oh.
So, if at all possible, if you could ensure that, we would be much obliged.
Oh, absolutely. Just I see what you mean. Obviously, I would not want any any harm socially to come to this young man, and so with that, you can absolutely take him home. I understand that he did look a little worse for the wear as he went up as well.
Oh, and by the way, I also say in Hungarian, if you ever get the chance, please speak to Dalton Abbott. I believe he would love to put your story out there for the masses to read. This may, in fact, get more support to your cause if he can, if he can convince them that the loss that all your losses could be fixed, shall we say?
Yes, Mr. Dalton. He's very enthusiastic, and I have been meaning to talk to him about the story, but my guests here are more important, and I promise you I will absolutely talk to him. Give me you have Hungarian as a skill, correct? The
I
language.
Do.
Go ahead and give me a roll in that.
42 out of 71, which is a regular success.
So as you're talking to him, you're having this conversation. As he's talking about Dalton, when he goes to say something in you're having this conversation in Hungarian, you realize that as you're having this conversation that he kind of messed up when he was speaking Hungarian, in that, when he meant to say that he would talk to him, he said it in a way where, I'm trying to think how to put this, where the words that he said for, let's say, like talking, and translated in Hungarian, don't quite translate that way. It's meant to, it was like he used the wrong verb for talking, which immediately strikes you as odd, because a native Hungarian would not make a mistake like that. Something just seems off about that. But before you can think about that anymore, everybody in the house hears a loud bang and a crash from upstairs. Everybody on the first floor, all of you, immediately recognize that crash as a gunshot.
I swear.
God damn it.
In Hungarian, very nastily.
Zoltan immediately, you start running up the stairs. Zoltan is right on your heels.
And I'm right on his heels.
Okay.
I'm definitely wanting to see this because, this is bad.
Okay.
Eugene!
Thaddeus and Benjamin, what are you doing?
Following right behind.
Okay. Yeah. You all, start running up the stairs. Frida, the maid, is kind of standing at the bottom of the stairs. She looks very shocked. But Zoltan just makes his way. He makes it up there before any of you. He gets there a split second before all of you. You're right behind him. He goes to open the door to Ariadne's room, goes to open it, pushes it. It goes in about an inch, maybe two, and then slams back on him. He looks shocked at this.
All right, I try to shoulder my way in through the door.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a strength roll, and anybody else who's there.
Fail.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there another way in through a bathroom?
Not into that room, that you know of.
Being I was right on the heels there, right basically side by side with Garland, could I assist with a bonus or something?
Yeah, go ahead and roll again. And in fact, actually, with the three of you there, kind of pushing on it with Zoltan as well, you start pushing on the door, and you can feel it like springing back, almost as if there's something like pushing back on the door itself. But finally, after maybe 30 seconds of pushing as hard as you can, whatever is holding it just kind of snaps, and the door just slams open. You all stumble a foot or two into the room. Benjamin and Dr. Bentz and Thaddeus, give me spot hidden rolls.
41 as a pass.
Not Garland. Sorry. So Harvey and Garland, you two have gone into the room. The other three of you, give me spot hidden rolls.
Hard roll.
Okay. And Thaddeus.
59 is a fail.
Okay. So Dr. Benz and Thaddeus, you are both just eyes wide open, looking into the door. Benjamin, you notice something as you get to the top of the stairs, not in the direction of Ariadne's room, not down that hallway. On the opposite side of the hallway, you see somebody at the end of the hall trying to open the window.
I'm going to immediately run in that direction.
Okay, so you start running down there.
I'm guessing that it might be the boy trying to get out the window.
Okay.
Eugene.
Garland and Harvey, as you two and Zoltan go into the room, actually the four of you, everybody except for Benjamin, give me a sanity check.
83 is a fail.
36 is a pass.
23 out of 60, I pass.
So if you passed, you lose nothing. If you failed, you lose 1d4. As you look into the room, you see lying in the middle, lying down in the middle of the floor on an oriental rug is Eugene Wilcox. His derringer is lying next to his body, and blood is seeping out of his head. You can see from where you're standing a gaping exit wound from the top of his head. Zoltan is wide-eyed, shocked, looking around. He goes, "Where's Ariadne?" And you look around the room and she's not there, although you do see that the bedroom window is open. Benjamin, you start running down the
right, and I yell Eugene because I think it might be Eugene.
You look and you get kind of halfway down there yelling Eugene. As you get halfway down there, you realize it's not Eugene, and as soon as you say that, the person spins around, and you can see that it's Stuart Portman. Is it Stuart? Yeah, Stuart Portman, the one who was kind of spurned. He spins around, looking very shocked, scared to see you. And says, I'm leaving, and then starts walking down the hall.
I'm going to pull out my gun and say, "Stay where you are."
He looks shocked. He says, "I don't need to justify myself to the likes of you. If you have an issue, take it up with my lawyer. I'm leaving." And he kind of makes a step forward, but then still sees the gun in front of him.
Just stay where you are.
What my lawyer will hear from this.
What did you do?
I did not do anything. Going back to the other four of you, what are you doing?
I lost 3 points of sanity, so I'm a little completely deer in the headlights.
I'm dashing to the window because that seems a little bit strange. Like, what do I see? Do I see anything?
So you go to the window, you look out the window, looking down on the ground, you can see Ariadne lying on the ground. Remember, you're on the second floor.
Right.
Zoltan kind of rushes over to you and looks down as well.
Down here!
Sees her. As soon as you say that, he immediately bolts out of the room, rushes downstairs, heading towards the outside.
I spin back and yell to the rest of them. She's on the ground. I think she fell from the balcony.
She needs help.
Yeah.
Harvey, help me restrain
Eugene's
this guy.
hurt.
I'm in the bedroom with
Darling,
Eugene.
Mr.
Right,
Vandermolen, I go over there and sort of look. Mr. Vandermolen, look at me.
He's hurt. He's hurt. We gotta.
Mr. Vandermolen, I grab him by the shoulders and force him to look at me. You see that wound? He is dead. There is nothing we can do for him now.
I should have done something.
What?
We didn't have time, boy. We didn't have time. Come out of the room with me.
As I'm looking around kind of in a day, can I see what was blocking the door?
You look towards the door and you can see that there is this narrow strands of this odd, sticky, white, rope-like substance that has been stretched over the doorway. When you push the door open, that's what was holding it shut. You must have snapped it.
So I'm down there, but I'm yelling, "Harvey, I need you."
Okay,
He's able to hear me.
Yeah, Eugene's clearly dead, so I'm going to leave that and head down to assist Benjamin. So I can.
What is this? What is going on?
Nothing good. Nothing good, I assure you. But there's nothing we can do here.
As Garland kind of, are you kind of like pointing at it, or?
Yeah. I'm like.
All right, so Garland points at this. Thaddeus and Sybil, you both see this as well. It's like the inside of the door, on the inside of the room, you can see that this like white ropey thin strands have just been stretched all over the inside of the door. It took the force of the three of them to kind of snap it open.
I sort of approach and kind of take like a, sort of feel what is this?
You feel it, and immediately you feel how very extremely sticky it is. You kind of pull your hand back, and it takes a little bit of effort to pull your hand back. Go ahead and give me a EDU roll. So which is no idea,
No.
whatever that is.
35 out of that is a hard success.
It reminds you of how spider webs feel.
This would be a very large spider.
And
But
with that, sorry. Go on, I'm sorry.
But it's the only thing I can think of that would even possibly make something like this.
And obviously, looking around the room, you see nothing like that. But the three of you, are staring at these, like spidery, rope-like, webs that are there. And before your eyes, as you're staring at these, they begin to dissipate and disappear. With that, that is where we will end today.
Our players included David Gasway, Stuart Lively, Jen Obertaz, Morgan Llewellyn, and myself, with Tyler Hudak as the keeper of the secrets. We have a Discord server where you can chat with our other members. You can set up private games. You can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. If you'd like to help support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 to a month helps us a lot. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answering any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.
Just cast an eye while in her direction. Oh me, oh my, that perfection. I repeat, don't you think that's kind of neat? I ask you confidentially, ain't she sweet?